Well, it is September 11th, 2024, 23 years after the attacks at New York, World Trade Center. 23 years is not the most noteworthy anniversary, right? I'm sure in a couple years, for 25, it'll be this kind of big hoopla and lots of remembrances and what have you. But it occurred to me today that I am one of those guys who's old enough to tell a story about where I was on 9/11 to all you damn kids who weren't even alive 23 years ago, of which there are more and more of you each day. These damn kids that weren't alive during 9/11. There's some pretty cool feedback about my story, my personal experience with religion, going through religion during the Jesus is King reaction. And I may have told the story before, but I figured, why not? Here's a little bit of Bob lore for you. Where I was, September 11th. 2001. So I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy. I went in November of 99 and I got out 2005, December 2005. 6 years. I was part of what they call the Nuclear Propulsion Program. So carriers and subs for the Navy are nuclear powered operated. That's all of them have reactors on them. The Nuclear Propulsion Program, you go through about a year and a half of pretty intense school, just fire hose of information for 18 months to learn how to operate a reactor, essentially. And I had just gotten to the ship. So CVN 74, John C. Stennis, JCS, we called it the Just Clean Something because we're in the Navy. That's what you do. You stand in line, or you sit in training, or you stand watch in the engine room, or you clean shit. Or usually you clean shit while doing one of those other things. Lots of cleaning in the Navy. I'd only been on the boat for a couple months. I think I got there in July, like middle of July. So I maybe even 2 months. I'm pretty new on the ship. But, used to the daily routine now, kind of used to how a carrier operates and what it's like, the normal ins and outs of each day. And, the attacks happened it was about 9 o'clock Eastern time, so 6 o'clock for us in the AM. We were off the coast of San Diego at the time. We weren't deployed. We were just out to sea. I don't remember what we were doing. I was too noob to know what the hell we were doing. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, every day on the carrier, they say, "Reveille, reveille, all hands heave out." There's literally a ship-wide announcement over speakers shouting at everybody, "Get the fuck up. Get up. Get out of bed. It's time to go to work." Again, right? So 6 a.m., you're up, no matter what. And there's always some douchebag who, as soon as the reveille announcement is made, they flip on all the lights, too, in berthing. So I'm in berthing. I'm waking up, right? Berthing, where I was I was a machinist mate, so that's the mechanical side. So think like, steam generators and water pumps and all that stuff. That portion of the reactor process, if you're familiar with how nuclear reactors work, basically you generate heat to create steam to spin turbines. That's it, and the reactor is your heat source. So I was on all the steam side of that. I didn't do control rods and all that crazy stuff. So I'm in berthing. The berthing holds like 100 dudes. And we have a recreation area, a TV area that's probably the size of what you see behind me. So not even the whole room, just this. And we kind of had a TV about the size of the painting, although you can't quite see the whole painting. So, eyes are still shut, kind of shuffle around. I've got my toothbrush. I've got my toothpaste. And some guys are, watching the TV. TV's on, news on. And I look, and it's the city, and I'm like, what? And there's all this smoke coming out of the building. What the hell's going on? Oh, dude, it's crazy. Some airplane crashed into one of the towers in the World Trade Center, one of the World Trade Center towers in New York. What? Yeah, it just flew right into it. Crazy. What? Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, it's crazy. They're all talking about it on the news, blah, blah, blah. Wow, that is crazy. And I go walking off, go to the bathroom, and I go brush my teeth and stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, I've never been to New York City. I don't know what the hell that's like, right? I know there's airports. I know there's tall buildings. I'm like, God, that's crazy. A plane hit. I thought, and completely beyond reason, right? Accidents happen. Maybe there's some sort of mechanical malfunction or something. Who knows? But that's wild. Brush my teeth just kind of thinking about it. And so, remember, I got up at 6. And the first plane hit sometime before 9 Eastern. And then the second one hit a little after 9. Because when I came back from brushing my teeth, more people are standing around the TV, and I look, and it looks a little different. I go, well, now what's going on? And somebody says, a second plane hit the second tower. And the whole mood shifted, because that's what we knew. Oh, fuck. This is no accident, right? One plane, maybe, right? But 2 planes, 1 in each tower, we already know what's up on the carrier. We already know. And then, of course, you've got the one that hit the Pentagon, and you've got the one that, like, crashed in the field or something out in Pennsylvania. Was one of them trying to target, like, the White House or something? I don't know. So I was like, oh, fuck. And I remember that day specifically, So the Skittles were on board. And if you don't know the Skittles is what we called Air Wing. So everyone has their uniforms, right? We wear our uniforms. It's not like the fancy ones, but like our work uniforms. And if you were part of Air Wing, if you were part of the flight crew for, launching planes and recovering aircraft, you had different color shirts for your job. So you had a green shirt, purple shirt was like refueling, because I remember purple was the same color as the JP5, which is jet fuel piping that went through the ship. So if you saw a purple pipe, that was jet fuel going through there. So really don't touch that pipe. There's red shirts and blue shirts and all that. So we just call them Skittles, because when they're all running around on the flight deck, it looked like somebody spilled a bunch of Skittles. So we call them Skittles. And I swear to God, dude, that day, the whole aircraft carrier, like nothing happened. Anywhere there was a TV, it was a room full of people just watching. And it was just so surreal. So surreal. And I remember too, like that afternoon, they were coming up to us and saying, how much clothing do you have? Can you leave now, like to be deployed? What's your financial situation like? What's your home situation like? Because it was fucking on already. It was on. It was wild.
Well, then we couldn't talk.
Right. You were on your Europe semester, having that properly ruined, because there was all of a sudden a bunch of places you couldn't go.
Yeah. We didn't get to go to Egypt or Turkey.
Yeah.
Or...
They can't hear you, by the way.
I sound like I'm bragging English.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And then we didn't deploy right away. Everyone thought we were going to deploy right away. We didn't. We ended up deploying a couple months later. It was several months later. It wasn't right away, because that was September. But I got back from deployment.
We couldn't talk to each other.
I know. I couldn't talk to you because you were in Europe.
No, they shut down the phone.
Oh, right. Yeah, they shut down the phones, of course. No, I'm just talking about deployment in general. Anyway, that carrier group, my carrier group, was part of the first response to Afghanistan and tip of the spear, whatever the hell they called it. And I remember we were the night ops carrier for, was it the whole deployment, or was it the first 3 months? I think it was the first 3 months. I think there was a carrier group out there. They were day ops, and so they just sort of, airstrikes. We were night ops, so it was basically 24/7 airstrikes in Afghanistan. Was it Iraq too? I don't fucking remember. It's been so long. So I remember our day shift was nighttime. I went about 30 days or so without seeing natural sunlight. I just was curious to see how long can I go without seeing natural sunlight. And it was about 30 days. And I remember coming up to the hangar bay once. So the flight deck is the top of the carrier. The hangar bay is down below where you put all the planes inside the carrier. So you can go stand in there and look out across the ocean. And just looking at the water hurt. Not even direct sunlight. Just the UV light reflecting off the water hurt my eyes after a month of not seeing natural light. That was kind of weird. And that's pretty much it. Not the most fancy story, but very memorable, very much seared in my brain. Strange day. Just anywhere you went with a TV, no one was doing shit. They were watching the TV. That was it. Nothing else was going on. And it didn't matter who it was. Your E1 nobody, your E8 senior chief. It didn't matter. No, everyone was just watching the TV. That was it. And then the next day, it was like, all right, fucking get back to work. Turn the TVs off. We're getting back to work. We're going to war. Blah, blah, blah. Get your shit ready. Anyway. Okay, there you go. There's my story, where I was, 9/11. You damn kids. You weren't even alive then.